I never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these, but here we are. My wife, Rachel, and I have been married for 6 years. At first, everything was great. We clicked right away, similar sense of humor, shared interests, the whole package. But over the last year or so, things started to feel off. It wasn't anything dramatic at first, just little things. She stopped being interested in spending time together. She'd zone out during conversations, always glued to her phone or making excuses to stay late at work. I tried brushing it off as just stress. We're both busy, right? But as weeks turned into months, I couldn't ignore it anymore. She started going out with her girlfriends more often, which would have been fine, except she never mentioned these friends before. And she'd come back home late, sometimes reeking of booze, giving me that half-assed, "Oh, we lost track of time" line. But it was her sudden obsession with her appearance that really set off alarm bells. New clothes, working out every day, always checking herself in the mirror. I figured she just wanted to feel good about herself, but in the back of my mind, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. I brought it up once, just casually, like, "Hey, we don't seem to spend as much time together. Everything okay?" And of course, she gave me the classic, "You're imagining things" speech, with a heavy dose of eye-rolling. "It's just work, Mark," she said. "You're being paranoid." But my gut wouldn't let it go. And as much as I wanted to believe her, I knew something was off. I just didn't know how deep it would go. I'd been trying to push the nagging thoughts to the back of my mind, but you know how that goes, it just eats at you. One night, after Rachel had pulled her usual going out with the girls routine, I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning, replaying all the weird shit she'd been doing. That's when I noticed her phone buzzing on the nightstand. Now, I know what you're thinking, don't be the guy who snoops through his wife's phone. But something in me snapped. I just needed to know if I was crazy or if there was actually something going on. So, I grabbed her phone and unlocked it. We knew each other's passwords from way back when trust wasn't an issue. The first thing I see? A string of texts from some guy named Brandon, and not just innocent, friendly texts either. These were explicit, steamy messages, talking about how much fun they had the last time, how he can't wait to taste her again, and how she looked so fucking sexy in that dress. I felt my stomach drop like I'd been punched in the gut. I scrolled up, my heart pounding in my chest, and there it was, a conversation stretching back months. Photos, dates, times she said she was out with friends, but was actually with this guy. There were even plans for their next meetup, at a hotel, no less. The timestamps confirmed it. She'd been lying to my face for months. I sat there, staring at her phone in shock. It was surreal, like my whole world was crumbling around me. How could she do this? To me, to us? I wasn't just hurt, I was pissed. But right then, I didn't even know how to process it. All I could think was, holy shit, this is real. As I put her phone back down, I heard the front door creak open. She was home. The lies were unraveling faster than I could even keep up, and now I had to figure out what the hell I was going to do next. Rachel came through the door, trying to be all quiet like she didn't want to wake me up. I sat there in the dark, waiting, my mind racing, heart pounding. When she finally stepped into the bedroom, I switched on the lamp. She jumped a little, clearly not expecting me to be sitting up, wide awake. "Hey," she said, a bit too casually. "You're up late. Everything okay?" I stared at her for a moment, not even knowing where to begin. "Yeah, Rachel," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Everything's just great. How was your night out with the girls?" There was a flicker of something across her face, panic, maybe, but she played it cool. "It was fine," she said, tossing her purse on the chair and pulling off her coat. "Why are you acting weird?" Acting weird? My blood was boiling at this point. I grabbed her phone off the nightstand and tossed it onto the bed in front of her. "Care to explain this?" I asked, my voice barely under control. She froze, her eyes darting to the phone, and for a second, just a second, I saw her mask slip. But then, like the master manipulator she is, she quickly recovered. Mark, what the hell are you doing going through my phone? That's such an invasion of privacy. I can't believe you don't trust me. I almost laughed at the audacity. Don't flip this on me, Rachel. I read everything. You and Brandon. All the texts, the pictures, the hotel plans. You've been lying to me for months. How long did you think you could keep this up? Her face went white. She tried to come up with something. I could see the gears turning, but nothing came out at first. Finally, she started spouting bullshit excuses. It wasn't what you think. Brandon is he's going through a hard time, and I was just being supportive. Those texts. Supportive? I cut her off, raising my voice now. Are you fucking serious? You've been sneaking around, sending him pictures, meeting him at hotels, and you expect me to believe you were just being supportive? Do you think I'm an idiot? Her defenses went up instantly, and the anger in her voice matched mine. You're overreacting. It's not like I slept with him. It was just, I don't know, a distraction. Things have been hard between us lately, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You didn't know how to deal with it, so you cheat? You think that's an excuse? That justifies everything? I was shaking, barely holding it together. Her eyes filled with tears. Whether they were real or just another manipulative move, I didn't know. I'm sorry, Mark. I never meant for it to go this far. I never wanted to hurt you. I just stared at her, all the hurt, all the betrayal, crashing over me at once. I didn't know what to believe anymore, but one thing was clear: the woman I thought I knew, the woman I'd married, was gone. All that was left was this stranger, standing in front of me, spinning lies to cover up her affair. After Rachel's pathetic attempt at apologizing, I didn't know whether to scream or cry. My body felt like it was going through shock. One moment, my hands were trembling with rage. The next, I just wanted to collapse and disappear into the floor. It's crazy how betrayal feels physical, like it punches you in the gut and leaves you gasping for air. I stood there, trying to process the hurricane of emotions flooding my brain. She just stood there, staring at me, probably waiting for me to snap or forgive her. But I couldn't do either. I was numb. How could you do this to me? I finally managed to choke out, my voice breaking. I trusted you, Rachel. I loved you. We were supposed to be a team, remember? Through thick and thin, right? What happened to that? Her tears kept flowing, but they felt like crocodile tears to me now. Mark, I'm so sorry, she whispered, stepping closer like she thought she could fix this with a hug or some bullshit gesture. I was lost, okay? I didn't know how to handle things, and I made a mistake. I backed away, putting distance between us. A mistake? I laughed bitterly. No, Rachel, a mistake is forgetting to pick up milk at the store. This was a series of decisions. You lied to me. Over and over again. Every time you went to meet him, you chose to betray me. This wasn't a fucking mistake, this was a full-blown affair. Her face crumbled, but I couldn't feel any sympathy anymore. She'd taken everything I thought was solid in our relationship and shattered it. Every memory, every promise, it all felt tainted now. Even the smallest moments we'd shared, like watching TV on the couch or laughing about something stupid, felt fake. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she kept saying, like it would change anything. I wasn't happy, and I didn't know how to talk to you about it. I thought Brandon was just a distraction, something to fill the void. Hearing her say that only made it worse. So instead of talking to me, your husband, the person who's supposed to be your partner in everything, you run off and get your emotional, and clearly physical, needs met by some random guy. I shook my head, disgusted. God, Rachel, you didn't even give me a chance to fix things. The room felt suffocating, like all the air had been sucked out of it. I wanted to yell, to punch something, but more than anything, I just felt empty. 6 years of marriage, and this is what it came down to. Her sneaking around with another guy while I sat at home like an idiot, thinking we'd figure things out. I don't even know who you are anymore, I said quietly, the words barely audible. And in that moment, I realized the person I thought I knew was gone. Maybe she'd been gone for a long time, and I just hadn't seen it. She stood there, still crying, still offering up weak excuses, but I'd stopped listening. All I could think about was how badly I wanted to get out of there, away from her, away from this mess. Everything we built together was a lie now, and I had no idea how to pick up the pieces. After what felt like hours of her apologizing and me standing there, hollowed out by rage and heartbreak, I knew I couldn't stay in that house anymore. Not with her. Not after everything. It was like the walls were closing in, suffocating me with memories of the life we'd built that suddenly didn't mean a damn thing. I need to get out of here, I said, more to myself than to her. The decision hit me all at once, and it felt like the only thing keeping me from completely losing my mind. Rachel's face twisted in panic. Mark, wait, please don't go. We can talk about this. We can fix it. I'll do anything, I swear. I'll cut him off, I'll go to therapy, whatever it takes. Don't leave me. Her desperation was almost pathetic at that point, but I wasn't falling for it. I couldn't. She had already shown me who she really was. Fix it? I scoffed, grabbing my jacket. Rachel, there's nothing left to fix. You shattered everything. And now, you want to pretend like a couple of therapy sessions will erase the fact that you've been screwing around behind my back for months? I shoved my wallet and keys into my pocket, feeling the weight of what I was about to do. I need space, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, even though my emotions were tearing me apart inside. I need time to think, to figure out what the hell I'm going to do next. But I can't be here. Not with you. She reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't, I said sharply, and the word cut through the air like a blade. You've done enough. Her face crumpled again, and for a moment, I saw genuine fear in her eyes, fear that she'd lost me for good. Maybe she had. Maybe I was just done with all of this. But right then, I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with her. Without another word, I walked out the door, the cold night air hitting me like a slap in the face. I didn't know where I was going or how long I'd be gone, but I knew one thing for sure, I couldn't stay there. Not after everything I'd just found out. I drove around for hours, aimlessly, my mind racing between anger, sadness, disbelief, and just plain numbness. At one point, I had to pull over because I was shaking so badly. It hit me then, I had no idea what my life was going to look like now. Everything I thought I knew was gone. I didn't know if we were done for good, or if I'd somehow try to salvage the wreckage of our marriage. But in that moment, I couldn't even think about forgiveness or reconciliation. All I could think about was how badly she'd betrayed me and how much it hurt to even consider being in the same room as her again. For the first time in my life, I felt completely lost. And for the first time in a long time, I was starting to realize that maybe I deserved better than this. After spending a few days crashing at my brother Jake's place, I finally felt some clarity. At first, I was just trying to escape the whirlwind of pain and betrayal, but as the chaos settled, I started to see things more clearly. I needed to decide how to move forward, not just for Rachel but for myself. Jake listened patiently as I recounted the whole nightmare. Dude, you can't stay with her, he said, shaking his head. She's already shown you who she really is. You deserve someone who respects you, not someone who's off screwing around while you're at home. Hearing him say it so plainly hit me hard. It was true. I had been giving Rachel the benefit of the doubt, convincing myself that maybe we could work things out if she just showed me she was committed. But the truth was, she'd crossed a line I didn't think could ever be uncrossed. So, I made the decision. I was done with Rachel. I texted her that morning, telling her I needed to meet up and talk about everything. She responded almost instantly, begging me not to do anything rash. But I knew this was a choice I had to make, no matter how painful it would be. When I walked into the cafe where we'd agreed to meet, I was a bundle of nerves. I hadn't seen her since I walked out, and the thought of facing her again made my stomach turn. But I had to do this. I needed closure, even if it was brutal. Rachel arrived a few minutes later, and when she walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked like a mess, dark circles under her eyes, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, and her face pale. I could see the remnants of her earlier confidence had been stripped away, leaving behind a frightened woman who was realizing the consequences of her actions. "Hey," she said softly, sitting down across from me. "Let's get to it," I said, not bothering to soften my tone. "I think we both know why we're here." She nodded, biting her lip. "I know I've hurt you, Mark, and I'm so sorry. I've been thinking a lot since you left." I cut her off, not wanting to hear the same tired excuses. "Rachel, I don't want to keep dragging this out. I can't. I can't forgive what you did, and I can't stay in a marriage where trust is gone. We're done. I'm filing for divorce." Her eyes widened, and for a moment I thought she might cry again. But instead, she straightened up, her tone shifting. "You're just going to throw everything away? After everything we've been through?" "Yes," I said firmly. "You threw it away when you decided to cheat. I'm not going to be a backup plan or a safety net for you while you figure out your shit. You made your choice." She opened her mouth to argue, but then closed it, realizing there was no point. The anger had left her voice, replaced by a desperate plea. "Mark, I can change. I swear. I'll do anything." "Anything?" I scoffed. "You think this can be fixed with a couple of promises? You lied to me for months, Rachel. You made a mockery of our marriage. I can't keep pretending like everything is fine when it's not. I deserve better." There was silence between us, heavy and suffocating. I could see her searching for words, but I didn't want to hear them. I had made my decision, and it was final. "I'll always care about you," I said, my voice steadier now. "But this is for the best. For both of us. I need to move on and start fresh, and you need to figure out your own life without dragging me into your mess." With that, I stood up, feeling a weight lifting off my shoulders as I walked away from that table. I didn't look back. I knew it would take time to heal, but I finally felt a sense of empowerment. I was taking back control of my life, and that was something I hadn't felt in a long time. It's been a few months since that day at the cafe, and I can honestly say I've never felt freer. The divorce process was tough, filled with all the emotions I'd been trying to suppress. Anger, sadness, betrayal, it all came flooding back at various points. But I've also discovered a resilience I didn't know I had. After I officially filed for divorce, I went through a whirlwind of paperwork, lawyers, and endless late-night conversations with Jake and my other friends. They rallied around me, reminding me that I was worth so much more than the way Rachel had treated me. I started focusing on myself, rediscovering hobbies I'd abandoned, reconnecting with friends, and even dating a little. The first time I went out with someone new, it felt strange but exhilarating. Through this process, I learned to appreciate the little things. I found joy in the simple act of riding my bike along the river, letting the wind blow through my hair as I felt the world around me come back to life. I even picked up running, which surprised me. It became a way to clear my head and find my footing again. But more than anything, I learned the importance of self-respect and boundaries. I realized that love shouldn't be painful or filled with doubt. It should be a partnership built on trust, communication, and mutual respect. I spent so long questioning myself, doubting my worth, that I forgot to hold myself accountable for what I truly wanted. As the divorce was finalized, I found a strange sense of closure. I let go of the dreams I'd held for my marriage, dreams that had become tainted by betrayal. It was freeing to acknowledge that I could create new dreams for myself, ones that didn't involve Rachel. And as for her? I did hear from her a few times, mostly through texts trying to check in or see how I was doing. But I stayed firm. I didn't want to reopen old wounds or get dragged back into her drama. It was hard to let go of the memories we'd made together, but I had to remind myself that those memories were built on lies. The hardest part was accepting that I'd loved someone who didn't truly love me back. But now I know that I deserve better. I'm not bitter, I'm wiser. And I'm ready to embrace whatever comes next, without the shadows of someone who didn't appreciate what we had. So, to anyone going through something similar, it's okay to feel lost. It's okay to take your time to heal. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and help you remember your worth. And when you're ready, step out into the world with your head held high, because you deserve happiness, and you're the one in control of your own life. I'm moving forward, and it feels damn good. Looking back on everything that happened with Rachel feels surreal. It's almost like I'm recounting someone else's story, but I know it was real, painfully real. Those months of betrayal and heartbreak taught me lessons I never thought I'd have to learn at this stage in my life. I've come to realize that my experience wasn't just a tragedy, it was also a transformation. I've become more self-aware, more confident, and dare I say, more in tune with what I want and need in a relationship. I've set clearer boundaries and learned to trust my instincts. If something feels off, I'm not afraid to address it right away. I've also rekindled friendships that had taken a backseat during my marriage. Those late-night conversations with my friends over drinks or bike rides have reminded me of the value of connection. It's amazing how much support you can find when you open up and let others in. I've learned that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a strength that fosters deeper bonds. As for my love life, I'm taking it slow. I've been on a few dates, and while they've been fun, I'm cautious. I want to build something genuine, not rush into anything just to fill the void. The right person will come along when the time is right, and I'm okay with that. I'm not looking for someone to fix me. I'm working on being the best version of myself. To anyone reading this who might be facing a similar situation, trust yourself. The journey might be messy and painful, but you'll emerge stronger on the other side. Surround yourself with people who genuinely care about you. And don't be afraid to cut out toxic influences, no matter how hard it seems. Rachel and I had a chapter that ended in betrayal, but that doesn't define my whole story. I'm writing a new one now, one filled with hope, resilience, and the promise of brighter days ahead. I've learned that it's okay to let go of what doesn't serve you, and it's never too late to start fresh. Here's to new beginnings, to finding joy in unexpected places, and to living life on my own terms. Because if there's one thing I know now, it's that I'm worthy of love that's real, and I won't settle for anything less.